Here's a microphone for you guys.
Oh, hey. You look just like Dante Basco, man. That's really like identical. I'm like a tribute band to myself.
Between two ferns, Dante.
The seating situation was very complicated.
Yes, it was.
Good morning, New York. How the hell are you? That's what I'm talking about.
Yay!
All right, guys, it's a Q&A. So if you have a question, put your
Whip it
hand
out.
up. We'll call on you, they'll answer it. You got a question?
You got the Q's, we got the A's.
And hey, when you ask a question, if there's only one question, I guess they'll all answer it, but ask per person. Otherwise, one question will be the whole panel. Go ahead.
What was Tony J like?
Who are you talking to? What? Who are you asking? No, I just said ask per person.
Your listening skills are fucked up, man.
Too early.
Line one crossed.
What was Tony J like? Tony J, for those of you guys who don't know, remember Hunchback of Notre Dame, the movie, the Disney movie? Okay, he was the bad guy in that. He was a very serious Shakespearean actor. Okay, who took himself really seriously as an actor, and yet he got stuck doing these goofy cartoons with us. And one of my first shows I ever did was called Two Stupid Dogs with Secret Squirrel. Remember that? You guys are unbelievable. You know more about this stuff than I do. Anyway, I was Secret Squirrel, right? And Tony was my boss, and he was a buffalo, right? And I remember him, you know, he was all pissed off. He goes, I was trained at the Royal Academy, and I'm playing a freaking buffalo. And he was all pissed off, right? And then what was weird, though, is when I first showed up there, you know, he was, like I said, really serious, and he took one look at me, and he's just like, what the hell is this? When he met me, you know? But after, like, the 5th session, he walked over to me, and he put his hand on my shoulder. It was the best thing ever. And he goes, Jace, he goes, I must tell you that when I first met you, I didn't have much use for you. He goes, but now you're my buddy, and I insist you sit next to me. And we became like friends, and I always thought it would have been a great reality show if me and Tony like lived in an apartment together. So, Tony J, anybody else you got Tony J stories?
Still reeling from the fact that you
He quit squirrel.
honestly, I didn't know that.
I got 3 credits, man.
So we have to come all the way across the country to
Find out what the hell
what
we
else
all
we
done.
worked on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I never met him. I heard he was.
I probably met him, but I got him short term. I don't know who he is.
Oh, and he also, as things got better, as time went by, and he got more familiar with me, he goes, just you think you would help get me laid? I'm totally serious. And I said, no, I don't think so. True story.
If anybody could, you could.
Thank you, man. You know who Morocco was? Was the great Jim Cummings, man. How about that? Jim Cummings, yes.
And he was doing sort of a Peter Lorre thing.
It was great, man, right?
Guys, any questions? You don't have it.
We can just
come down there. We will.
What's the point? All right, right here, dude. You got it.
Yes.
How old were you when you did this presentation?
I was 12 years old. Yes, it was my very first cartoon, and I was there with my father, Don Franks, who was a very big voiceover guy in Toronto, so it was pure nepotism. And he brought me to the audition, but I was just hanging out coloring, and they said, hey, would Cree like to read for the role of Penny? So I went in and got it, and it was pretty amazing, you know, getting to work with Don Adams, and that was the very beginning, and so that character will always be endeared to me. Yeah.
Was that like your first thing?
How about a second?
You were Penny? Yeah.
See, this is what he's talking about.
What's going on? Me and Graham like, what?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, Brady, it's suspicious. That's right, that was in Toronto with Deke. What was Don Adams like? To tell you the truth, he was kind of an
He was
asshole.
like Tony J.
I mean, he really was. But you know, I was a kid and I wasn't really impressed at the time because, you know, at 12 years old, I didn't really care. But in retrospect, it was a great honor. That's the truth. Yeah. What got a lot of them? Never meet your favorite.
All right. Oh, hang on.
Mickey Dolan's from the Monkees. I don't know, you guys probably don't remember. Yeah, okay, but he's a jerk. Sorry. He was really mean to everybody. Maybe he was just in a bad mood, I don't know. But it was funny because Candy Milo, who's a girl that we work with, said before he left, she's like, oh, Mickey, I just wanted to tell you that when I was little, we used to play a game called Who Gets to Marry a Monkey, but the loser had to marry you.
Wow. Still just tripping at your penny. I mean, this is crazy. I didn't know.
Next question, right in the back, you got it.
Yeah, Mass Effect, which I didn't know was such a big, because I've never played a video game since I was like 8. Last time I played a video game was at the laundromat with my mom playing Pac-Man, and yeah, that's the last time. Because I'm too excitable. Like I tried to play a video game and I just like, oh my god! I mean, I was just like screaming and it wasn't good. Yeah, but no, it was just that I just knew the casting director had just used me a lot. Ginny McSwain, had worked together, and she was actually my neighbor. She lived like a few streets over, and I just loved her. And she just, after, it's such a small world that after a while, like if people know that you show up, I'm not even on time, but like if you show up relatively on time and can deliver the work that, just make them look good to his casting people, like they're putting that's the thing is people are always like, why don't new people get a chance? Because casting people don't want to risk their job on some new person that's going to come and screw up. So you kind of have to, like, a lot of times you'll have to, my friends that are new in the business, I say, you have to audition like a million times and get really, really close a million times before they finally take a chance on actually getting you a part, because they need to know that they need to see your name come up a lot in the top 5 choices and go, okay, that person must be really good. Like they've obviously like made it to the top a few times now, and they're obviously getting their auditions on time, and like, so they're not going to embarrass me in front of these people that have trusted me to pass this thing. So when they don't want to do that and put that much thought into it, they just call the same 20 people they've been working with for 20 years, and they just know that they're going to be there. They're going to know what they can. She pretty much knows what I can do, so she just called up. And I was really pregnant with my 10-year-old son during that, and so I remember like I had to do some grunts and stuff, and I was like, oh god, I thought, oh my god, I'm going to have this baby right now because I just grunted. And then, no pushing. That was really sweet.
So you're all known for real childish cartoons.
That's because we're really childish.
Childish.
Then comes along and they show Avatar, Thundercats, every anime you've ever been in. I'm sorry.
I don't care.
When you get those action cartoons.
You can buy and sell us 10 times over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
So when you get those action cartoons and you read it, you're like what when you get the size for it, do you ever have a reaction? It's like, oh, this is something big, or something serious, or do you still see it as a job?
No, it's let me see. I mean, the thing about it is, like, when Avatar came along, right? I remember when I auditioned for Avatar, once Nickelodeon Studios, and you're like, Nickelodeon is known for SpongeBob, and especially that time with Cat Dog, these kid cartoons, right? And so they gave me this script of this, in the picture of this guy with a ponytail, and a scar on his face, and I'm reading through the script, I'm like, this is obviously an anime-inspired Asian epic adventure, and I'm sitting at Nickelodeon like, this ain't gonna work. I'm like, this is not Nickelodeon. And literally, I was like, this is not even, I don't think he's gonna make it on air. There's no way this is gonna work. And then little did we know, it became this phenomenal hit. I don't think when you're doing the work, you don't really think about if this is gonna be big. It's like we're just doing work, right?
Yeah, you can't second guess any of it. You have to go in, even if it's Soldier A that you know is going to get murdered in the first 30 seconds, you got to put as much into that as you would the lead character on some giant franchise. And you do the job and you walk away and you hope that does okay, and for the producer's sake. We're just there to fulfill the vision of the producer, whatever that looks like. So.
I can't believe they chose my stupid brother. They gave you the part of my stupid brother. I can't believe it. I should have had that. Nickelodeon should have banished you a long time ago.
So good.
I would have taken away your bending years ago.
I actually auditioned for Azula and then didn't get chosen, and then they went through a bunch of celebrities that they were trying to give the part to, and then they sucked, I guess. And then they came back to me. And I was like, all right, then. Anyway.
It was the tits, man. It was the tits. You know what was amazing about Drawn Together was nothing was sacred.
That's it.
I mean, I just remember, like coming there was like day 2 and opening the page and it was like, there's a glory hole and it says glory, glory, hallelujah. And God is in there. And you're just like, I'm not offended. And I'm not, it's so easy to be offended. And that ain't no joke, especially right now when everything is really fucking offensive because our human rights are at stake. So it is nice to have something where you can just let off a little steam and acknowledge that these things are cliche and caricature for a reason, because we all got a little bit of something. I mean, I remember when I was at this fancy hotel. I was a little girl with my grandmama, Lily Mae. And I went to get some watermelon, and she said, "Girl, don't you know that's a private fruit?" Because, we don't eat that in mixed company. I was piling it on my plate. She was like, "Girl, that's a private fruit." And that was something that Drawn Together made me feel like those little moments that...
I played it to private fruit.
But it's just those little moments in life that maybe we share because we're both Italian, or we share because we're both something, but we wouldn't dare share in public. We were just, airing everybody's ass was out. And, it was the best. And Jess and I got to sing all the time, which was amazing because Jess is an amazing artist and everybody was a singer. And, yes, it was offensive as hell, but it was smart too. And it was clever. And it had that thing sometimes that great comedians have where they say something funny as hell and then, you're walking away and the aftertaste is a lesson. It's a little bit of truth.
Yeah.
Things are funny when they're true. And that was.
Can you imagine?
Hell yes. Could you imagine never-ending episodes? It could just be called like the Trump series, Yeah.
Well, dude, it's like for me, I just like Cree said, I could never believe we do these table reads where you read the script out loud and everybody can hear. And since it was Comedy Central, there'd be all these people there, and half the stuff that I was saying, I'm like, there's no way that's gonna make it into the show. And it all made it into the show, and it was all so messed up and so politically incorrect and wrong. And I remember thinking, we have broken every possible barrier. I'm banging dead girls. I mean, it's like all this crazy, right? And then. And then they call me one day, they go, "Hey, we're gonna make a movie." And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "So we can do all the stuff we didn't do on the show." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I went to the premiere of that thing and I hid under my chair the whole time because I was just like, this is so unbelievably wrong. It was just crazy wrong. But I'll tell you a funny story, What's really good about Drawn, I don't even know if you know this story, but it's good. The first time I showed up for the Drawn Together table read, there's all these people there. And it's good to not be intimidated by people, I've never been intimidated by anybody in my life, which is maybe good, maybe bad. And anyway, there's this little lady, and she's standing there, and she comes over, and she goes, "Hi, Jess, how are you?" I go, "Oh, I'm tired. It's like 9 in the morning." And she goes, "Well, can I get you anything?" And I go, "Like what?" She goes, "Like orange juice or something?" I said, "You know what? Orange juice and a bagel would be awesome. Thank you," right? So she goes, "Okay." So she goes over, and she gives me orange juice and a bagel. So I come in the next week, and I go, "Hey, Debbie," and she goes, "Hi, Jess, orange juice and a bagel." I said, "Yeah, that's great." Right? So the third week, I go in and I sit down at the table and I see her talking to somebody. I look in front of me and there's nothing there. And I catch her attention. I go, "Hey, Debbie." I go, because I was just messing with her, right? So she goes, "Oh yeah, hang on." So she goes and gets me an orange juice and a bagel. And then this guy turns to me and he goes, "Dude, how did you get her to get you orange juice and a bagel?" I go, "That's Debbie. She gets me the bagel every week." They go, "She's the president of the freaking network." It was Debbie Liebling. She's the head of Comedy Central. And every week she was getting me orange juice because I didn't think.
My favorite is Debbie.
Yeah. Debbie. It's not going to suck itself.
It's not going to squeeze itself.
See, Steve, that's what I mean when I said. I told Steve in the dressing room, we're up there in the green room, and I go, "Dude, every time I do a panel, I say something, and then after I say it, I go, I can't believe I just said that." That was it. That was exactly
it. I was expecting much more.
There'll probably be more later. Yeah, if they ask me another thing. But yeah, so Drawn Together totally screwed up, but working with Cree was freaking amazing, as it always is. All right, next question.
Don't you know that bagels are the private pastry?
Private pastry! That's right.
Las Vegas, yeah.
private base.
Bounces off that last question. One of my favorite things is like your bloopers and stuff. Steve, I've heard from like Nolan North and Kristen Freeman that whenever you do bloopers on a DVD, all of yours get cut because they're too bad.
Yeah. I know I look like a nice guy, but inside there's just filth.
He is a nice guy.
What's like one of maybe the favorite for everyone? It's like one of your favorite things that didn't make it onto the credits.
Jeez, I don't even know anymore. Usually I would leave them intentionally for Crispin or for Nolan. Because we would do anime, and in anime you're matching up all the lip flaps. So I would come up with entire storylines with just this foul crap that would match perfectly with the lip flaps for them. So it's more of an off-the-cuff storyline issue for me rather than some overt, horrible thing that I would say. But there was a show called Gurren Lagann. I don't know if you know that show, the thing that made it into that show was a line. This guy was a robot mechanic, and you'd think a robot mechanic's, tough, gnarly dude, and they hired me for this guy, and his biggest line was, "When you screw it in, give it a hard, manly twist." That was the cleanest thing this guy said through the entire thing, and so the challenge in that was to make Tony Oliver, the director, who's a great director and very kind and very conscientious of actors' feelings. He loves actors. My greatest goal in that was to make him squirm as much as I possibly could. So I would say something really awful, and I just watch him, and I just. And we had a lot of breaks on the show because of that. So I don't remember individual things, but anything that Jess says, just cube that with a foul context. I mean, it was pretty much there. I wanted to be on Prawn Together so bad.
Oh, you should have.
I watched that show because that's what I wanted to be able to do, and we don't get to do that normally.
No, it was the most part.
We don't get to do that normally. That was like.
Well, we do it when we're talking in the green room. But yeah, most of the stuff that I say they can't use, but it's still pretty funny. And I will tell you, what's on the other side of that same coin though? Sometimes you make stuff up and you just throw it in off the cuff and it ends up in the show and it becomes like a big thing. I got a great one of those, dude. And they never even paid me for this, which is really messed up. But me and Jimmy Cummings years ago, there was this movie coming out called The Lion King. You probably heard of that movie, right? And they hired us to go and sing demos so the actors could hear it being performed. In other words, they wanted us to do really good stuff that they could then copy, which happens, whatever, I don't care. So I go in there, and we're singing this song called Hakuna Matata, right? And I'm being Timon, that's the little guy, the meerkat. Yeah, I was Timon, and he was doing he was Pumbaa, this guy, right? So we're singing this song Hakuna Matata, and it comes to the middle part, where there's that big soliloquy about, when I was a young warthog, and he sings about how he had gas and he didn't have any friends because he farted all the time. And in the lyrics of the song, it said, "And I got downhearted every time that I farted, Hakuna Matata," right? And so Jim's singing it, and it comes to the every time that and I literally patted him on the chest, and I went, "Hey, Pumbaa, not in front of the kids. Hakuna Matata," right? And I see them in the room nodding, and then they invite me to the premiere, and I'm like, "You bastards. You freaking bastards." And I said to Chris Montana, who was this music supervisor for Disney, I walked over to him, I go, "Hey, dude, that Hakuna Matata song." He goes, "Yeah, that's great." I go, "How about that Pumbaa not in front of the kids?" He goes, "My favorite line." I go, "You were there, dude. I made that up." And he goes, "Yeah, you did." I go, $20 right now, dude. And he did. He gave me $20. So. Yeah, we do that all the time. We just give them good stuff and then they profit from it.
I've auditioned for commercials where I come up with like a funny tagline and then I'm listening to the radio and I'm like, "There's my freaking tagline," and I didn't get the
And you didn't
part.
get the spot, right?
I have a funny, just a dirty, just when I started,
You saying something dirty?
No, but the cast of Scooby-Doo just wasn't ready for me yet. Like, Casey Kasem was like, old school, and he was used to Mary Kay, who was just like the sweetest. The woman who played Daphne before me was just like an angel person. She was just so sweet and so just earnest and would never say a bad word about anybody. And then here comes me. And I behaved myself for a little while, and then I was like, I think I kind of have the part now, so I'm just gonna let myself loose. But I remember Casey Kasem telling Frank Welker, I overheard him working in coffee. He's like, "That girl, she wears these dresses all the time, but she says pussy every 5 minutes."
You probably kept him alive.
Yeah. I'm sure he loved it.
Yeah.
All right, right here in the front. Director, a question to one person, and we're going to meet for 7 hours.
I have a question for Ray. How are you doing Loud House?
I did a panel yesterday and forgot to mention Loud House, and I'm so proud of it. SpongeBob, we beat the piece of cheese. My grandma, yesterday I was saying that my grandma is like 92 and I brought her to, the SpongeBob, not even SpongeBob, we were just at Nickelodeon and SpongeBob's wife was in the lobby, Jill Talley, who plays our mom on Loud House. But my grandma's like, I'm so sick of this little piece of cheese. Why is it everywhere? There's pajamas, there's costumes, there's a statue. I'm so sick of this cheese. Anyway, so I'm glad that America's sick of the cheese too at Loud House. Yeah. But yeah, I played so many fun parts on it. I played the twins and then the little baby Lily, and then I play Scooch, the lady on the little scooter, and I did this one line as a teacher a few weeks ago, Tammy or something, this teacher, and she's like, I can't remember, I don't even know if her name's Tammy, but in my head her name's Tammy. But yeah, she was like, Mr. So-and-so, we got an emergency here, we gotta get these kids out of here, and so they've been putting her, she's like this character, she had one line, and now she's like a regular on the show, so, anyway, it's really fun. Well, I thought that they were, I loved that part so much because I was raised by my grandmother, so when I read for Frankie, I was like, oh my God, she's like lives with her grandmother in a house full of nuts. That's me, and so I couldn't wait I was like, oh God, I was like waiting to see, and then I was in Hawaii with my family, and Tara called, and she was like, she just left a message saying, okay, so because I had gotten the part Frankie, and I was really excited about it, and she'd gotten Biff, the older brother, and she was like, so yeah, we got our parts, but they are going to go out to celebrities, they're going to have celebrity auditions this week, and so hopefully we'll be able to keep our parts, and I was like, oh my God, I got that message, and then the time was different and everything, and I was trying to call her back, and I couldn't reach her, and I was like depressed for like 2 days, and finally I got her on the phone like a couple days later, I'm like, oh my God, tell me, how did you know that? She's like, oh, I was just kidding with you. I was like, I'm gonna get 2 days of my vacation back. I was been depressed for 2 days. But I was so excited to be on that show. That was still one of my favorite casts, like, Phil Lamar and Tom Kenny and me and me. I was my favorite part of the cast. Anyway, yeah, it was good.
What was your favorite part about playing Jake
No, actually, Jake Long was the first kind of series I ever did, and it was really cool because I didn't know what I was doing, and I barely know what I'm doing now. But he was cool. I think the best part is I don't know, like I gotta. For a lot of people always ask, like, am I more like Rufio, more like Zuko, like in real life? But in reality, like I'm pretty much Jake Long, like kind of grew up this hip hop kid, Asian, and so like I got to talk a lot of just like if you watch the show again, there's like a lot of '90s hip hop like vernacular, and that's because me and the actress Kitty, we just kind of like went back and forth on just the hip hop stuff, and it's funny that like Disney let a lot of it through because they definitely don't know. They have no idea what we're talking about. When I first got the role, I went on a press tour, right? For like playing Jake Long, the American Dragon, and I was like, I got to the front, I was like, yo, I'm so happy that Disney has a hip hop show, it's so cool. And the president of Disney gets in mic and said, I didn't know we had a hip hop show.
They had no idea, dude. They had no idea.
He had no clue. I was like, oh no, I'm the star of the show. This is a hip hop show. And then next thing you know, we're like rapping in the titles and everything. It was so crazy.
They were like, give me an orange juice with a bagel.
You're exactly right, dude.
That's what I'm talking about.
This question is for Steve. One of them will just say thanks so much for being you. Time and absolution.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for being you too. Yeah.
Time and absolution is like a great part of my childhood, man. That you've been in. So, plus my question to you is, how did you and Logic get together for that album? Because I love that fucking album.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like, I didn't know that you were on it. Like, I seen you on the cover and the drawing, but I was like, nah. And then I listened to it. I'm like, oh shit, that really is him. So like, how did that happen?
I looked at myself on the cover and went, nah. I couldn't believe that he'd want a dude in his 50s, a cartoon fool, to be on this amazing rap album. He was a big fan. He's a big anime fan. And he contacted my agent before we did Incredible True Story, about a year before that. And he told me the concept of this thing. My agent said, this 25-year-old kid wants to talk to you about being on a rap album. I went, what? No, there's got to be another Steve Bloom out there. And she said, just meet with him so he stops calling. I went, okay, fine. And so we met, and as it happened, we lived about 3 blocks away from each other. And so we met over a sandwich. He gives me the full pitch about what the album is and what he does and who he is. I had no idea, honestly. And I started, before I even listened to one bar of his music, he won me over just by the person that he is. When he talks about peace, love, and positivity, and that message that he puts out there in the hip-hop world, the dude lives it and breathes it every single day of his life. He's become one of my best friends. I call him my little brother. And I didn't have to know anything else. I didn't have to know about getting paid. I didn't have to know about the context of it. All I knew was that I loved this person. I just fell in love with this guy and went over to his house, walked into his office, tripped over all of his video games, and I see bebop paraphernalia on the walls, and he's got Akira playing on a projection, and he starts talking about his life in hip hop and how a lot of what he was able to get through in Maryland growing up in gangland, basically, his family was really messed up. He was able to survive that by watching anime and by watching Tsunami and enjoying a lot of the same things that we do as a community. And he just wanted to include me in the next step of his life. And so he puts me on this album. I still can't believe that I'm part of it. And then a little piece on the new album too, and hopefully on the next one. So we'll see. He's an amazing guy. Everything that he says that he is, he is and more. So thank you for listening to that. Thank you for supporting me.
Did not know.
No, I know, but I like to say that here because it makes me feel like it's real. You know,
Did not know you were the hip hop album. I gotta check this out. Steve.
Yeah, man.
Street cred. That's street cred. For real.
Don't ask me to rap though.
Me neither.
I know, it's terrible, right? Jesus. As a cameo, maybe. I'm really lazy. I hate remembering lines. I've never done anything on stage or on screen, so I don't. That's not part of my world. I've only ever been a voice actor, and that's my comfort zone. And I can dress poorly and behave badly, and still get paid for it. To be on the set of something like that, the responsibility level, and sitting for 14 hours before you do your first line is just not attractive to me. I'd rather get into the room and start working right away. That said, if they ever did a live adaptation of Bebop, I would love to do the opening and closing narration, and maybe one of the old guys, the old pilots, fellow cranky dudes. That I would do on screen, because I'm that now. But thank you.
This is a question for Steve. First of all, thank you for Cowboy Bebop. I love that show so much. What was your favorite part about playing Spike?
Learning how to act. My partner in life now, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, is here. She's the director on that show. She's doing a panel right now somewhere in the building. She was my director on that show, and that was my first leading role, and I was terrified. I could not believe I got to do that, and I literally felt like I was going to soil myself for the first 3 episodes or so. I learned how to act, and I learned who the people were in this community, and that I wanted to be part of this community for the rest of my life. I think that's where it really sunk in. And Bebop was kind of a miracle in its own right, just because it brought anime to another level, whether I was part of it or not. It was a visionary piece that has lasted the test of time. So, and now I'm with Mary, which is amazing. Like Julia, yeah, we get to travel the world together. It's amazing. We've been friends for 18 years, and that show brought us together. So that's the best thing ever to come out of that show. People up here, come on.
No, we love the Steve stories. We're rolling with it.
All of you are awesome.
Yeah, most awesome.
Seriously. Like,
Don't point your weapon at me, mister.
it was pretty much thanks to you all those years ago. I started watching Tsunami when it disappeared and broke my heart. 5 years ago today when it came back, like you were just here. Like, why are you so cool?
Real question.
Why are be so cool. to
You know
see
why? Because I had mentors to bring me there, dude. No, that's an accurate answer though. Actually,
mean-
it's the people in this community, really. You guys and people like these guys on stage here. It's a community. We're all a worldwide community, and I've worked a lot of jobs in my life, a lot of really crappy jobs to support this habit, and I have never met people anywhere in my life that I trust and love more than this group of lunatics. So that if I have to answer a question like how am I going, it's because of you guys, because of these guys.
It would be very refreshing for you to really go down the list of like really why you're like it means like the hair, the bank account, the girlfriend, just like yeah. Boys would be like not even the goals but
And my manly feet.
I want to say thank you guys for being here. You made my childhood so alive.
Thanks for letting us in your house, man.
This question is for Chris Summer.
Hey,
And
how you doing, sister?
I'm good. I wanted to know how was it like to work at the set on Cartoon Network for Kids Next Door.
I'm talking about number 5. Let me tell you about number 5. Well, this is what I love about number 5. I love Abigail. I love number 5. And I also love how cool was it that they let her big sister be named Cree.
Yeah.
Right? That was the first time I'd ever been able to be. Yeah. Look at the drugs just wore off and we all got to see it. You okay, man? Give this dude some water. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's crazy. So that was an amazing experience. And then another cool thing about going to audition for that was I had been out with my girls the night before and we had torn it up. And I really did sound like I do today, like 1,000 miles of dirt road. And then they told me it was a little girl and I was like, and I think I made some joke walking into the booth. I was like, I do my best. I said, I hope she's related to Scatman Crothers. And he was like, that's it.
You're the chosen one.
I mean, no, but that was literally it. I mean, so that's the thing about auditions, you know, people get themselves so fucking worked up and so uptight, and they think I gotta have this part perfect, and I gotta know this inside out, and it just may be that little offside flip moment that you're completely unconscious about that gets you the job. Because it is, like everything I believe, divinely ordained. Nobody can get my job, and I can't get anybody else's job. And that's the beauty, and that's what can extract the competition and extract all that bad shit that you feel around it or desperation. If it's yours, it's just waiting for you. And you can't make a mistake.
I try to read for her shit all the time.
And I try to read for her shit. And here's another kick-ass thing about cartoons, is everybody knows their lane. I mean, you know, I've been a couple of princesses. I mean, like maybe one, but you know most princesses don't sound like they be drinking Jack Daniels and smoking mentholated Kool. You know, but Gray is a princess. You know, no, but I mean, she sounds like one. But I can be the princess with badass best friend. You know what I mean?
I was Lizzie on that show.
That's right. That's right, don't
Reggie.
forget. Battle Station. But I did love Kids Next Door. It was, how was it? It was delightful. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just had visions of you and your crew.
Yeah,
Because you gotta
my
understand, her girl, growing up in LA, like my young crew would just be following her badass girl crew around town. Seriously. No, we're like the boys looking at her. If we saw your crew in a club, we knew A, it was the hottest club in town, and B, we were like, let's go over there and talk to them. It was,
That's so cute.
and she knows what I'm talking about. Her
I
crew's
do know,
the
I know
baddest-
you're talking about
the
my
baddest crew.
All right, right here in front.
Hey guys, stand up. You guys deserve that respect.
Oh,
Yeah, yes.
sucker.
You conned me. I just want to ask. I know Dante touched upon this before, where he's like, I didn't know if the gig was gonna work out as well as it does. It's kind of a question for all you guys. What do you guys tell yourselves? I know you might be excited for a role, and the nerves are up. What do you tell yourselves? To get you through that role.
get you through this job?
When you're nervous, you mean?
When when you're nerves are high and you're like, I really want to nail this.
That's a great question, man. But a lot of things in life are about choices and how you choose to look at them, right? And a few years ago, I put together sort of on a goof with my best buddy a band called Rock Sugar, right? That's done very well. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, it started as a joke and it ended up opening for Aerosmith. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But it's like a mashup where we do 80s songs. They play 80s metal songs and I sing 80s pop songs over the metal songs. And this one gig we did, we were over in England and we were opening for AC/DC in front of 100,000 people. There were 100,000 people. And I was backstage and I'm jumping up and down, I'm getting ready to go on. And this little British interviewer guy's talking to me. And he goes, so tell me something, Jesse. He goes, with a crowd this large, are you very nervous? Are you nervous right now? And I'd never been asked that question before. And I thought about it for a second. I went, I probably should be, but I'm excited. Okay, and see what you do is by telling yourself that, all of a sudden you take yourself out of one mindset and you put yourself into another mindset. Because nervousness and excitement are the same thing. Really, it's the same kind of emotional feeling that you're having. So if you tell yourself, screw it, man, I'm not going to be nervous. I'm excited. I want to get out there. I'm going to do my thing, man. I'm going to kick some ass. It's going to be great. I know I can do this. All of a sudden, you're empowering yourself instead of taking yourself down. So for me, it's a choice, and I just choose to be excited. Rock on.
You got it.
Which one?
Yeah. Yes, you.
The Price is Right. Come on down. Neither did I.
You're excited.
Be excited.
Do you mean animated or live? Oh wow, okay. Well, I will always be endeared to Penny because that's what started this amazing journey. And of course, like you brought up, playing Freddie on A Different World was transformative because I think we had never seen a young woman of color represented in this way. A beautiful freak, someone that is a pariah and, dancing to the beat of her own drum. We had always only seen, very, very sadly, very limited young black women on television, and then such caricatures, and not at all a representation of the wide range of women that we can be. And also her political activism, her amazing heart. I'm supremely proud of that character and that show. And then I have to say I love Defoxy. Damn dang your funness, damn Foxy funness. And I just, my mama didn't raise no fool, my daddy didn't raise me at all. I just think there was something also liberating about Defoxy. I mean, just on the flip side. And also, like I brought up earlier, God, I'm going to say every damn character I played, but I really loved being Princess Kida for Disney. I thought she was kick-ass. Yeah, and I thought she was really one of the first princesses. I mean, of course they don't acknowledge her as a princess. She got too much flavor. Tell it. She's a queen, girl. But, I loved Kida. Like I said, I never thought I'd get to be a princess. And it was the first time I got to be a princess, and on that scale, was just incredible. I mean, the fact that, she looked like me and they did a kind of rotoscope, where to capture all my expressions and my face and movements. So yeah, those are probably my favorites. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
I got to interject one thing before the next question. I just want to tell you guys something. I know I speak for all of us when I say how happy it makes us when you say thanks for being a part of your lives, And I want to point something out to you, somebody said something to me yesterday about being a big fan, and I think I don't like that word because that suggests like a separation between us and you guys. The way I look at it is, you guys are our friends, because what do friends do? They support you, right? They like you, they care about you, they want to hear what you're up to, they want to be part of what you're doing. So I just want to say on behalf of all of us that the reason we do these things is because we get to come out here and meet friends, you know. So if you're not doing anything later, even if you just want to come by and say hi, we'd all love to say hi to you. If you don't get your questions answered here, come and see us. We'll be downstairs for like the next 6 months, and you can come over and talk to us or whatever. But I just want to say sincerely thank you for being our friends, okay? We appreciate
And
it.
if you got like some medicine, you want to pass it to me, it's all good, we just friends. I did say you were, Jess came to, there was like, it was slow yesterday, there wasn't that many people here, and Jess came to my panel because there weren't a lot of people here. And then somebody was like, I was at Grace's panel, and I looked over and there was Jess, and so on Twitter I was like, he's like a huge fan. He goes so now there's a thing going on, people are like, is he, I'm like, he comes to everything, I can't, away, but anyway, it's not my friend.
She's going to sign my chest later. It's going to be great. Never. Which one? Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing other sports in that, like writing a different character for different worlds or different things?
Well, you know what's funny? Okay, what she's asking about the band thing. We had this song called Don't Stop the Sandman, right? Which is Metallica's Enter Sandman, but I'm singing Journey's Don't Stop Believin' over it. No, you guys, it works so good. It works frickin'. It sounds like it should have gone like that in the first place. And she's asking if we're going to consider a different style of thing. Well, you know what's great is, first of all, we got sued for this record. I can show you on my phone. No, seriously, you can't see it. Come to my table. The album, the Rock Sugar album, is selling for $423 on Amazon right now because one of the guys on the record heard my singing and he thought it was him. He sampled it. It was imitating him. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know about this thing? Yeah. He sued us. And he took us to court. And I used to love this guy, and now he's a dick.
Sing in court?
Yeah, no, we had to send a forensic audio track of me singing by myself. So you didn't know this? Yeah. So he won't let us sell our record anymore, even though I'm selling it at my booth, because fuck him. So it's yeah. And look at it this way, dude. If you buy it at my booth, I will sell it for like $25, and I sign it. They're selling them for $425 online without signatures, so you'll make a lot of money. But anyway, so with the new record, we're making this new album right now, and what's great is for the first one, we pretended that we were stuck on an island at the end of the 80s, so we only knew 80s songs. But now for the second album, they've been off the island now, so they know new songs. So now we're combining the 80s with like Bruno Mars and Adele and Kelly Clarkson. So it's going to be really badass too. So yes, we're doing a whole. It's really good.
If you don't know Rock Sugar,
Yeah.
please check
Go
it
on
out.
YouTube.
It's
And
such an amazing night.
Thank you,
Kick
Cree.
ass.
And we got lucky one night. Cree was up front. I handed her the microphone and she started singing, and everybody's like, "Jess, shut up and let Cree sing." It's freaking great. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
What I want to say thank you all for being with us for so many years.
That's what we love you, man. Thank you.
Your voice forever. My question is, I guess for everybody, what was the hardest role I guess you like had in all of your years of doing every type of media or medium? And I guess like to the point where it's like I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this character the way I do it.
I have to say, every time I go in, and I know people probably like, no, great, but like if it's a new thing and I don't know the people, I totally have a moment where I'm like, this is the day that everybody's gonna find out that I'm not meant to be doing this.
That's
I don't know
not
what I'm doing. It happens it happens like once a week. If it's a new thing, I don't know anybody. I'm just like, oh God, I have to prove to these people. And what if I didn't? But also, I had to play Sheena Easton got hired for a Scooby thing, and then I don't think it worked out. Oh no! They just like threw her. They hired somebody else, and it didn't work out. And then they just threw me. I had to do this Scottish accent like out of nowhere, and I didn't know how to do it. I think I made it sound Irish. I don't know what, but they threw it at me, and it remains like something that I'm really embarrassed of. But really, your accent for that was I was like, I know, because they told me like 2 minutes before I started recording that I was doing that part, and I literally was like going, I feel terrible, but all of my accents are learned by like whatever junk food commercial I saw. So like, if it's like, it's an East Coast, kind of like a, Massachusetts accent. I'm like, Pepperidge Farm, and like it's Irish. I'm like, Lucky Charms, Blue Diamonds. I mean, honestly, it's like I go through whatever Irish Spring. Anyway, yeah. I'm just like, what commercials did I see in the '80s that I can pull an accent out of? Because they never really want the actual accent. They want like a really digestible, like, yeah, or either funny or just like easier on the ears. Because if they got a real Irish person, like I did the voiceover for those Tinkerbell movies, they wanted an Irish accent, and I did it first as myself, and I'd gotten the job, and then they changed the spec to they wanted an Irish girl, and I was like. So I didn't get the part, but I got the audition. It's terrible when you get an audition for a thing that you think that you're doing. You're like, oh, they're looking for people. It's like your husband sending out you seeing like an ad for a wife or something. It's like, oh, I got that part. Anyway, yeah, I have that. Yeah, so I read the part as with an Irish accent because I was like, I know they're gonna read real Irish people and they're not gonna like it because it's gonna be unintelligible. So I'm just gonna do like a real small lilt kind of thing, and it'll be real magical, but it's still gonna be. And I used a different name like Kelly O'Connor or something like that, and then I came in and I was like, yeah, the girl you fired, I'm back, and I'm not Kelly O'Connor. Anyway, but yes, there's a lot of times they want like a sanitized accent. Also, I'm Mexican, I'm part Mexican, and so I get a lot of roles that are Mexican. I know, I'm undercover, so don't be racist in front of me. I was getting my hair done, and this girl goes, she's like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from San Diego originally. And she's like, huh, after the wall goes up, it's going to be hard to find a gardener. And I was like, oh, no, I was like, I am so upset right now. And I went to it was a dry bar. And I went and told the manager, I was like, I can't have her do my hair. She just said something really horrible. Anyway, I know, so I'm ready. Anyway, yeah, but they'll have me do I got the part of the Mexican Barbie, Teresa. And I started out talking a little bit with a little bit of an accent, and then they're like, can you just make it like a little bit less accent? And then I just kind of made it just a little bit of a flavor kind of thing, And they're like, can you just make it like a little? And I was like, you just want to see my birth certificate, but you want me to sound like a white girl? Okay, all right. So then I was just like talking like this, and they were like, perfect. Anyway, okay.
I took a dialect class recently with Schneider. Anyway, she's gonna kill me. But it was a master class for dialects, and it was Eliza Jane Schneider. She's brilliant. And so I thought, all right, I'm finally gonna master these dialects that I've been faking my whole life. And I get to an audition literally the next day after the most intensive class, and I think it was for a Scottish accent or something. And I do something very authentic, and he said, oh, no, we want something that sounds like one of the, like the really crappy kind of guy, I'm going to the Scottish They said, okay, you got it, that's what we're looking for. And I thought, why did I just waste all this time and money on a dialect class? But it's not a waste if you're a student of this. Learn what it should be. Learn what it should be, and then screw it up, and then you get hired. The hardest thing for me, though, the question was, what was the hardest character? Yeah, Wolverine. When I went into audition. I don't even know if it was the audition. I think it was the gig. I came in for X-Men Legends, and doing this voice is really fun and really cool. But when you have to do all of the fight scenes, which is what most of the video game was, for 4 hours, after about 20 minutes of it, I was.
And then he went home that night and went, oh my God, my career is over. I'm in deep trouble. Oh no, what am I gonna do?
Well, that, and 20 minutes into it, my throat was going. And I also noticed that every time I would take a swipe, every time I go, which I would do literally with my arm, I have my face right here, the arms are going like that. Every time I do it, I would fart. And I was thinking, how can I keep this up? First of all, I'm going to run out of whatever is producing that. And secondly, Wolverine can't be farting. That's just not good. And so every time I did it, it was like, here, coming up behind it. And so I would say very gently to the engineer, I'd say, I think I need to do the take again. There was just a glitch in my ear, and I wouldn't explain what was going on at all. And that was the first time I played Wolverine. The next time I came in, I thought, you know what, I got away with it. I'm going to fart every single time. And years from now, I'm going to tell the fans, go ahead and listen to every incarnation of Wolverine, and you're going to hear somewhere underneath all that. So what you thought might be the worst thing can turn into the best thing.
You know what's funny? I'll just add to that really quick that for me, it's all about, like, my doctor, when I used to go blow my voice out sometimes and I'd go see my doctor, he'd look at my vocal cords and he'd lean back and he'd go, "You've been doing that Cirque du Soleil shit again, haven't you?" Because, see, we all do stuff. Every single one of us does stuff that you're not supposed to do with your voice. So we're expected to create sounds that you're not supposed to create. But what's really weird is that there are some voices that you'd think would be hard to do, and they're not that hard to do. And there's others that you think would be easy that are very hard. Like I do a lot of the South Park ancillary products, like doing Cartman, and you'd think that that would be a tough one. You know, but it's easy. It doesn't put any pressure on my chords. On the other hand, I'm doing kind of a dream project right now that Gray's actually doing too. They're bringing back the Wizard of Oz Cartoon Network, right? Which, yeah. You're here to hear first, because I don't know that they've even announced it yet. But no, it's been announced, I think, yeah. And I'm the Cowardly Lion, right? And that's cool, but doing that voice, it's all in your throat. So after you got done talking like this for 4 hours, your voice is like going, you know what I mean? But it's like, because it's all right there in the throat. So for me, it's like, what's about the hardest voices to produce? You know what I mean? Because some of them, like he was saying, you could blow your voice out and be screwed for a week. Yeah. You don't want to do that. Yeah, or longer.
Yeah. All right, right here in the front, last question.
Oh, look at that, you're closing the show.
Hey, after this.
Yeah, come to the table and sit. Plus, listen, and I think we're all doing Q&As that are solo or some shit, so come and ask us anything you want. We'll hang out. It'll be great. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you, my dear. You have excellent taste. The cast. Honestly, working with Frank Welker and Peter Cohen and seeing the original Optimus and Megatron together, it was literally like a masterclass. There were times in that booth and everybody in that room was amazing. We would all just sit back and they would go off on some shtick, because these guys are both stand-up comics. And they would go on some shtick, and literally the whole room, which was full of suits, by the way, from Hasbro, a lot of executives were there at every single recording. They would literally sit back and just, okay, just let them go. We don't care if we go overtime. And we were a bunch of little kids. And you see, well, I've been a huge fan of Frank Welker for most of my life, without even realizing it. Yeah, one of the best humans I've ever met. And then seeing Peter Cohen, who I'd known for years on the surface, just from our work on Toonami. But to see him walk into that room, and if you don't know what Peter looks like, he's this distinguished-looking old Hollywood guy with a pencil mustache. Dresses very nicely. He's very gentle when he shakes your hand. And then he stands up to the microphone and clears out all the smoke and whatever crap he's got going on in there. And he'll just go, "Transform and roll out." And the walls flex. You can feel it vibrating through your bones. Everybody in the room turned into an 8-year-old blubbering kid. It's the most phenomenal thing. Yeah, and just working on anything non-technical. Yeah.
Whoops.
Thank you. Where's my orange juice? Yeah, but literally, like I was saying before, it's the people that really make it. And besides it being a huge, amazing franchise, and to walk into those heels and to take over a role that was so iconic and played by Charlie Adler and Chris Latta and Tom Kenny, all the people that came before me, it was terrifying to walk in under those circumstances. And then later on, I was doing a show with Rob Paulson. I think we've all done that by now. His live show. Talking Tunes. And the lady who was running the show was Chris Latta's daughter, and the original Starscream. And she came up to me just before we went on stage, and she said, "By the way, my dad would be proud." And that kind of made me feel like it was okay, because I was, you don't want to do a bad job on something that people love so much. So, yeah, thank you for watching the show. I really appreciate it.
All right,
And
guys,
don't tell Megatron.
if you want to say hi or talk to any one of them, come down to their table. Please come down and say hello.
And thank you so much for your
Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. Seriously.
Really appreciate it. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you very much.